Hello everyone, it's me, Dewana from Special Shades of Color, and today I want to discuss protecting your children from a child who displays aggressive behavior. For instance, you've heard my stories in the other video about CJ and how he displays aggressive behaviors and how that manifests. And in my household, I have two younger children whom I have to protect when CJ displays these behaviors. And so oftentimes, CJ, he will display these behaviors for a couple of reasons. So the first thing I want to say is that it's important to understand what are the triggers for your child. For CJ, his trigger is either loud noise, so a child crying, the TV up loud, somebody screaming, or frustration. And his aggressive behavior tends to be, you know, based on those two factors. So I already know this going into the day. And a lot of times I can sense whether CJ's having a good day or if he's having a bad day. And so I pay attention to those things. If I see that he's a little off today, he's not having a good day, then I know that when the children are playing with one another, then I need to make sure my younger children are a little distance away from CJ. That way they can retreat to their room if necessary, or I can physically block the behavior from occurring against the other children. So I already know this going into things. Second, if I know that my younger child, who's 3 years old, if I know he's having a tantrum, he's screaming, crying, then I automatically tell him to go to his room. Now, sometimes you know how kids are and 3-year-olds are, so maybe he doesn't want to listen. You know, he's trying to test his luck with CJ. Then I try to opt for getting CJ to the room. But my best bet is to try to get my younger child into the room, because once my younger child starts to cry, CJ is not going to listen to me telling him to go to his room or trying to physically take him to his room to remove him from the situation. At that point, that's when CJ will become more aggressive. Also, what I found is that it's the tone of voice that I use when this occurs, when the situation occurs, that really plays a part in whether I heighten the situation or diffuse the situation. So when I was first dealing with this, of course, you're really just up in arms. You're frightened. You're trying to say, no, stop. You may be using an elevated voice. And so CJ, he reacts to that. And it just got worse. So what I tried was, I said, okay, obviously my method and my tactic is not working. Therefore, I need to figure out what I can do in my power to shift. So what I decided to do is try to speak in a calm voice, to really just nurture him and say, CJ, what's going on? Calm down. Hold on. Mommy's not mad at you. It's not your fault. And a lot of times he would react in a positive way and calm down. Now, sometimes that doesn't work because, whatever the level of frustration is, if it's to a magnitude 10, then even talking to him may not work well. But for the most part, if I use a softer tone with him and just give him some time and some space, it will, decrease in intensity. But like I said, that's not always the case. So you have to know what is a trigger for your child when they do display these behaviors. Because a lot of times, like for CJ, he's nonverbal. So a lot of times it's frustration. He cannot tell me what he wants. He can't tell someone to be quiet or the noise is too loud. So that is his way of telling us and putting us on notice. And it definitely puts us on notice. And, I'll tell the truth. A lot of times I'm in tears. I'm afraid. But then I have to get myself together because I'm the adult in the situation and I have to figure out how to manage this. A lot of times too, parents, you may not have behavior therapy in place for your child or things of that nature. So you may not know. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. I was fortunate enough to work as a behavior therapist in the past for a short time. But, other parents may not have that. We also did not have behavior therapy in place in our household, and we're trying to get that implemented now, and it's for various reasons. So I want each and every parent to be sensitive to other parents, because a lot of times, why don't you have behavior therapy, or why don't they have this in place? You don't know the circumstance, you don't know the situation of why they don't have certain therapies in place. So we have to use what we have. And that's why we're here, to support one another, give each other tips and advice, because it's difficult. Even when you do have all these supports in place, you're still dealing with this, because that therapist, that specialist is not always in your house. So, like I said, I am sharing my perspective, my view, what goes on here, and what I do to protect my younger children when CJ has these moments of aggression. And so I want to know, what do you do when you have younger kids in the house, or even if it's you, a lot of times our kids, they may turn their aggressive behavior on us. So what do you do to manage this? Precautions that you put in place, or things that you pay attention to put yourself on notice so you can be prepared and be proactive. Or what do you do to diffuse the situation? I want to hear from you. So visit me at www.specialshadesofcolor.org, or on Facebook, look us up, Special Shades of Color. Okay? And I will see you next time. Check out our next video. Bye.